Welcome to the party.
Guess what time it is, Greg?
I think it must be around 11 on a Monday.
It might be. It might be Thunder time. Topic Thunder, everybody.
Okay.
How are we all today?
We all are good.
Good, good. Greg, thanks for joining me.
Yep, on this beautiful, cloudy Monday.
Yeah,
It's fall. It's fall in Wisconsin. That's what we do.
Is October your favorite month?
Yeah, I would say probably.
Favorite season? Like, is the fall?
Yeah, I like a good, dry fall day with hoodies on and, usually rocking my kilt. But,
everything but the kilt, but I agree.
Oh, you look good in a kilt.
But yeah, I think I would look fantastic in a kilt, especially a plaid one. I think I'd look great, but I'm not going to do that.
Pansy. But no, I like campfires, football season, chili, colors changing.
Oh, chili, you're right. Chili, you're absolutely right. You make a mean chili? You make a good one?
I really do. Yeah, when you I think you guys are coming up in October. Maybe we'll talk about that later. But
I think we are. Yeah.
I will put that on the list.
Do that, definitely.
We will do chili.
Cool. All right, so you ready for the topic?
Yeah, hit me.
All right, here we go. Random topic is you and I have had this talk many times, and now it's here, Greg.
Okay.
Gun control.
Yep.
Yeah. So obviously there is a lot going on. I don't know when this is actually going to come out. I think this might actually come out at the end of October. I'm talking about our scheduling here. So this might be the end of October. This might be November. But there is
just for reference, right now it is early October.
Yeah, early October, and we are about 3 weeks out from the Walmart El Paso.
Yeah, 3 or 4 weeks, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know if that was El Paso or not. I can't remember what town it was in, but the horrible thing.
Okay, but see right there, that's an issue. Like, it happens so often, we can't even remember what town it's anymore.
Yeah, so. Right. I remember kind of where I feel like it started, and I'm wrong. I think I'm wrong. The school shooting, Columbine in Colorado. Columbine. I think that's not the first one, though.
Well, no, it's not the first mass shooting ever, but it's the one that really captured the national attention because it was young people in a school, and that's just what happened. And you and I were in college when that happened.
Were we? Yeah, 96.
Yeah, it was my first year of college. Yep.
You know what I think really why that captured the imagination is because everybody had kids like that in their school. Or everybody knew somebody like that in their school, and they
some of us were the kids like that in our school.
Yeah, you're right. I think that really touched. Obviously, going into any type of school and shooting children is a horrible tragedy. Just shooting anybody because you have some sort of weird agendas is it's horrible. But I think that's why it really resonated because that's one of the first things I thought of was like, oh, that reminds me of that guy that was in my high school, and so that really that could have been me, So I think you and I are on the same path in terms of how we feel about gun control.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, my dog's trying to cuddle underneath my feet, and I don't want him hitting wires and disconnecting stuff. I think you and I are on the same path. I think we look at it just a little bit differently. I think. I'm not sure.
Maybe.
The way I look at gun control, I don't think we have a gun problem. I think we have a people problem.
I would agree.
It's like what you and I talked about in a couple of episodes in the past about is money the root of evil? And we said, no, it's just a tool. I think the gun is a tool.
Yeah.
I think there could be better ways. And please let me know if, look, I don't own a gun. I don't feel the need to own a gun. So I don't know the processes that go into. I don't know a lot of this subject, but I do know that it's pretty damn easy to get one, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to, you could, after we're done taping, you can go to any place that sells firearms. It used to be, well, and it also depends on the type of firearm you want. If you wanted a handgun or like an AR type rifle, I think with ARs, I mean, you have to have a 2-day waiting period. They're going to do a complete background check on you. Um, and background checks don't actually take 2 days. They take about 30 seconds, but they're still going to make you wait 2 days to get your gun, just in case they're like you're a amped up husband or something like that, or someone who just got fired from a job. They're going to give you like a cooling off period before you can go and collect your gun. Now, if you wanted to buy like a hunting rifle or a shotgun, I believe
Yeah.
that's same day. Like,
Really?
go to Walmart. Yeah, go to Walmart. I'd like a 12 gauge shotgun, and they say, "Here you go. Would you like some shells with it?"
I think actually Walmart's not selling ammo anymore.
Uh,
I
I
think I,
saw
I think
that.
I, I
I
think
saw
I
that.
heard
I
that on a
haven't gone through
podcast.
that section of Walmart in a long time, so I don't know. But that was the case. Like,
Yeah,
if it's
yeah,
not
no.
Walmart, you can go to Cabela's and do the same
Yeah,
thing.
I do know that you can also go to like I don't know what it's called, but like a gun show, and you can like buy
Yeah,
some serious hardware there, and they don't do for I don't know. They do background checks? I don't know all of the
I've
details.
never I've never bought a gun from a gun show, but I've been to gun shows, and I see money being handed over a counter and a gun on the other side. So no, I don't think there's a background check piece to that.
Right. Right. My my wife and I were talking about it, especially during that time, and she actually came up with a pretty good idea in terms of like it should be kind of handled like a driver's license.
No.
Like, you go to a place where you have to take a test, you practice gun safety, like they show you how to shoot, they show you how to clean the gun correctly, they show you how to some rules and regulations, like what's legal in your state versus what's not.
Mm-hmm.
And then like I don't what is it, every 4 years you go in for your renewal of your driver's license, something like that. You would do that with
I'll do the same thing again.
Yeah, you do that with a
Yeah.
gun, and you have to take the I don't know. I don't know what would go into that, but I just thought like when she said that, I thought, you know what, that's a really good idea. I wonder
It's not
why they
bad.
don't do that. You know?
Well, I think part of the reason they don't is because it's such a politically charged type of topic. Because in this country, we do have the right to have firearms in our house, and people say the Constitution was written during musket loaders, and they weren't talking about, the kind of guns that we have today. But I think the spirit of what our forefathers wrote was, whatever the military is at, whatever the government was at, the people should also be able to be kind of there too, because it's kind of the idea that you don't want your government so far up ahead that your people can't have a ready militia is kind of the idea. Um, so I don't know. I own guns. I was a hunter, took some time off, kind of a hunter again. I grew up around guns because I come from a family of police officers. So there was always a healthy respect for guns in my house. And, from a very even early age when we would have toy guns,
Yeah.
squirt guns or anything else, I do kind of remember, like, I had laser tag as a kid, if you remember that.
I do
It
remember
was
that.
you like if you're walking around the house with your laser tag gun,
Yeah.
you don't point it at people.
Right. I
I,
remember getting yelled at a lot from my
yeah,
parents. Like, don't point that at anybody. Don't point that.
yep. Don't
You know.
point at anybody. Another thing was keep your finger off the trigger.
Right.
You don't put your finger on the trigger until you're ready to use it. And that was even with like some squirt guns and some the cap guns, which I don't even know if they make anymore. But there was definitely that kind of feeling for guns around my house, and
Yeah.
so I come from a little bit different spot, maybe. Um, I believe in our right to own weapons as
I
a
do too.
society.
Second Amendment, right?
Yeah, Second Amendment.
Yeah.
I believe in that. I mean, and I believe that goes into any type of weapon. So I own guns, I own knives, I own swords, I own some martial arts weapons. I mean, you know, that particular amendment covers all of that. When it comes to the military style weapons, I start to get a little fuzzy. Like I don't know. I know a lot of guys that own AR-15s. I know a lot of guys that have modified their AR-15s to pretty much be a military style weapon. I I struggle with that. I mean, I don't know if as a regular citizen I need to own that, especially when I have hunting rifles, shotguns, handguns, and all
Yeah,
the other
yeah.
stuff.
Um,
They come back at me with, well, if someday you need an AR because our government completely implodes and it's like Mad Max society, you're going to wish you had an AR. And I'm like, you know what? You're probably right. Like, I'll wish I have an AR in that situation. But what's the likelihood of that situation?
well, actually, you bring up a great point. Don't you think the likelihood of that situation in the span of the United States, don't you think that would have happened already? Like maybe during the Depression, don't you think it would have happened during around that time
I don't know. I
where
mean,
government could have fallen apart and,
yeah, depression, prohibition. I mean, those
yeah,
that era, it was still kind of like the Wild West in a lot of places.
yeah,
You know,
you might be right. I don't know. It was just a
the
thought that occurred in my head that if the government was going to fall apart, if it was going to turn into Mad Max and like
you're
I
right. Yeah, well, that would have happened. That would have happened before we had some of our society that we have today.
yeah.
Because even when you talk about like Mad Max, the whole reason that came around is that there was nuclear war and it was a post-apocalyptic society kind of
Right,
piece.
right, right. Well, I mean, there is always that we are teetering on the edge. I don't think we understand how close we are on the edge. You
Right.
know,
I mean, a little bit of climate change, and then you know we're there.
well, not only
So
that, climate change, and if every computer or technology decided not to work anymore, I think there'd be a
right.
mass panic.
There was there would be. There was a really cool show for a while, and it was one of those things where electronics just stopped working, and like the people that became
I remember
uh,
this.
I can't remember the name of it.
I don't remember the show either. I don't remember the name
The
of the show.
the people that became the most valuable people in society were farmers because they knew how to grow food. They knew how to, and so that's who you want to be around. I mean, if
Right.
society goes to shit, you want to make friends with a farmer real quick
Yeah.
because they know how to work the land. They know how to grow their food. They know how to read weather patterns and things like that.
Uh,
I'm in big
yeah.
trouble. I know I am.
Oh yeah, me too. I think a lot of us are. I think a lot of us are because d- most of us, I would say a healthy majority of the United States, and maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, are it's if you're hungry, you just go to your fridge. Like
Right.
the hunt. You don't have to like struggle for your survival. You have a roof over your head. You're not
Mhm.
freezing at night. Usually wherever you're living is pretty temperature controlled.
Yep.
You know, you know, um people's idea of survival like it's ridiculous now like oh my like it actually it's used all the time. I'm starving, I'm so hungry. No, you're not.
And they're not.
No, you're not. You haven't eaten in 4 hours. You're good. You're good.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Uh,
going back to gun control. Yeah, I think I
do
just
you
I go ahead.
do you think as a private citizen, do you think you should be able to own a fully automatic weapon or a bazooka or a rocket launcher? Do you think you have the right to own that?
I'm trying to think because I've never had that question asked to me. My first thought is yes, because we do have the right. Doesn't mean we should.
Because right now you can't. Like as a private citizen, you cannot get a fully automatic weapon. Those are considered illegal, and you can't get like rocket propelled explosives.
Yeah, I guess my only like okay, this is kind of funny because one of my shows, and I don't know why it's a show I watch. I don't want to say I love to watch it because it's not a good show. I mean, it's well done, but it's not a good show. It's called Fear Thy Neighbor, right? And it's on in the Investigation Channel or Discovery Channel, right?
Okay.
And it's about how neighbors through disputes it goes horribly wrong, right? Like,
Okay.
hey, this guy drives on my lawn, then the guy decides to put nails down on the lawn so that if the guy steps on or if it pops his tire, and it just escalates, and eventually someone gets shot because somebody brings out a gun,
Right.
right? So if you get those neighbors, you give one of them a bazooka, right? They're
Right.
blowing up a house, so as I'm thinking more about this, yeah, when you asked me that question in the beginning, my first thought was, why would I need that? Like, why would I
Right.
need that? And I think that's where I'm sticking at is, you know what, Greg? I don't know because
Yeah.
we're talking about a right versus do you need it,
Hmm.
right?
And a lot of people are. I mean, the problem is so polarizing. I know
Yeah,
my neighbor. If he was listening to this, and he would come to me the next day, and he's going to be like, "What do you mean you don't think you need to own? Like, you should have one of these. All you should have an AR-15 by now," and that's kind of his attitude.
yeah,
Um, and I
which
know a
is
friend of
fine.
mine, and I know another friend of mine. She's much younger, but she was like, if you own a gun at all, you are part of this problem. You are the downfall of society. So it's
It's
very polarizing.
pretty harsh.
And
It's pretty
it
harsh.
is. It's very
Yeah,
harsh. And I may lose friends because of this very podcast by me saying that I do own, a handgun. Um, but at the same time, like when you sit down and you really talk to those people that are so polarizing, and you can say, but they're like, well, but it's you. So we know you. We know you're sensible. We know
yeah,
you're responsible.
right.
So maybe you're not part of the problem. It's everybody else.
Right.
But and I think about uh, Tommy Lee Jones, Men in Black, is where he says the line, "A person is smart, but people are stupid." So when you start to get
Yeah,
that crowd mentality,
you're
and
right.
that's kind of what we're talking about. So when you get people in large crowds and that mob mentality on both sides of this topic is where people get very heated and vehement. And if we all just sat down and tried to talk and at least tried to understand the other side, I can understand both sides of this argument.
I can too.
Um, and and I guess I'm at a point where I do fall kind of in that middle, and that yes, I do want to have a certain amount of protection in my house. Um, you mentioned in another podcast, I do have some training in other areas where I can kind of handle myself,
Yeah.
but at the same time, if someone comes in my house with a gun, and a screamer stick is not going to do anything. Okay, I need to have something else in my hand. And we do hear about those stories of people in the middle of the day breaking into your house, wanting to cause malice to you and your family.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
That it does happen.
It does happen, absolutely. It's in fact I just heard about a a guy that was sneaking into people's houses and kidnapping their kids in the middle of the night. You
Yeah,
know, you know, so that's I think that would be a time where you wish you had a gun, right?
and
Or something to where
I'm not an overly violent person, but if you try to take one of my kids,
oh, absolutely.
I will light you on fire. I mean, it's just
9 times out of 10 times out of 10, if you're sneaking into my house in the middle of the night to take my kid, you don't have good intentions.
well, and there's laws to protect people for that. There's the castle doctrine, where if someone's in your house and they're trying to harm your family,
Yeah.
And I've clarified this with a lot of people. There was a gathering of my family, and they were arguing over this of like, what does castle doctrine actually mean? Like, they're saying, well,
Wait, what is it? What's it called?
the castle doctrine. So this is my castle, and
Oh, okay, okay.
I believe that's what it's mean. I don't think castle's a name, but it's this is my castle, and I have the right to protect it. So if someone breaks into my house and is trying to do harm, now if I grab any kind of weapon, be it a gun, be it a martial arts weapon or whatever, as I'm going through my house, and I've actually you can get training on this. There are certain centers that will train you on home invasion, like what to do. I cannot like be hiding around a corridor like John Wick, waiting for somebody to come out and then just pop him a couple times and be like, "Hey, he was in my house." You have to, you really have to be like, "I'm coming down the stairs. I have a gun. It is loaded. Get out of my house." If you do not, I mean, you're shouting this so that the person in your house knows, oh, this person is ready to shoot to kill. I got to leave. And if they choose to stay there, I mean, there's all this process to this. And according to police records, 9 times out of 10, the people that do that, the intruder leaves and they don't come back because they know you're there and you're loaded.
Yeah.
So, but what my family was arguing about was like, well, if you shoot them, you can only shoot them twice. If you empty a whole clip into them, they consider that excessive and you're going to jail for murder. And I was like, really? So I asked my cop friends, and they're like, no, you can, if he's in your house and he's trying to steal your kid or do whatever, you know, you can empty multiple clips into him until he's dead. Because that's the thing.
Is that a Wisconsin law?
No, well, it is a Wisconsin law. Yes, I don't know if it's everywhere. Now you live in a state with some of the most restrictive gun laws, like in the country. So
and we have one of the most serious.
You do.
So
I have
dying here like the in Chicago, people are getting shot every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
Now I have a concealed carry license, but I know that my concealed carry license does not work in Illinois, so I do not carry in Illinois.
Okay.
So, but anyway, that's the other thing is like being a responsible gun owner is knowing the law. I mean, knowing you can and can't do. But anyway, back to the family thing. So they're like, you know, if you shoot him in the house and he's trying to escape and it stumbles outside the house, you know, if he dies outside the house, then you're in trouble. So I was just asking my conference, I'm like, can you explain this to me? And so they explained the law. But the most important thing they said is like, here's the thing. I mean, and these are responsible people. They are good, respectable police officers with great service records. And they're like, anytime you pull out a gun, you've already made one decision. And so you have to really be sure what you're doing. And once you pull that trigger, you can't bring that bullet back into the gun.
Right.
That's a decision. So whether the guy's inside the house, outside the house, whatever decision you're going to make, you're going to have to live with.
Yeah.
That's the big piece.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. It's it's you're right. It's a polarizing topic. I don't know if there's a concrete answer.
Depends on who you ask.
Actually, you're right. Yeah. You're absolutely right about that.
Again, and then you and I are very similar in that we live in a world of gray. We don't see it one side or the other because the woman I know that is very much was probably thinking me as part of the issue now because if she watches this, she's going to know that I own a gun.
Yeah.
She's a new mother. And you know what? If someone's trying to take her kid, I don't believe that I believe she would stop at nothing to protect her child.
Yeah, absolutely.
That includes a gun. That includes a blade. That includes, you know, punching a guy in the throat until he drops dead. I mean, as soon as you bring that up, as soon as you bring family into it, it kind of changes the conversation. It's not just ownership. You're right in a way that it changes. Now I'm just playing devil's advocate
for that same person that would if you were to someone's trying to harm your family, what if your family already got harmed, right? And they got harmed by a gun, right? So those people that have a tragedy like that, like the kids at Combine, right? Or Columbine. Yeah. You know, those parents, you know, I don't think they're like, yeah, it's okay to still have guns, even though like my kid, you know.
Well, to that point, I think, and this is an argument for a lot of what the pro-gun people would say, is that most of these shootings, the shooter did not have a legal firearm. So those kids did not legally purchase their firearms. Perhaps their parents did. I'm not sure where they got their guns, but a lot of these, especially with the school shootings, these aren't legally purchased firearms.
Well, yeah, no. I know that, and I was playing devil's advocate. So what I'm saying is, for the people that sit there and say that you're going to want a gun to protect your family, there's the people that sit there and say a gun took away my family.
Yep.
You know, and so you're kind of in that kind of what life throws at you is kind of what you're gonna have to deal with. You know, did you hear that the latest news with the latest news in Florida is that teachers can carry guns in school now? They can carry
like all teachers?
Yeah, they can have guns in school now.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
Yeah, governor just passed a bill. I heard that on a podcast, not somebody talking about it. I heard it as they do these like little news things, and it was a real quick little news blurb. I was trying to look into it more to understand what that was.
Yeah.
So
it's all. Yeah. Oh man, I don't know about that. I mean, because
I don't know about that either. I think I don't know how to handle that.
When I was teaching, and that topic did come up. I was okay with select people, like select teachers or people in the building having a firearm after they had received like advanced training.
Yeah.
Most schools I worked in had a police liaison officer. That dude was armed 24/7. So there is, in many schools, there is someone with a gun, but it's just the one guy, and he's usually in an office somewhere.
Yeah.
But we had there's a former police detective in the last school I was at, who has a second career, he wanted to be a history teacher. I would have trusted that guy with a gun. There are former military guys that, I would have trusted with having a gun somewhere in their room. Now, again, I would say it's got to be like a biometric lock. So like it's got to take their fingerprint and to open the safe. And they've had a whole lot of training with firearms. I would have been fine.
I think you're hitting kind of the nail on the head there. I think a big part of that is just go through the training. And what I mean by go through the training is don't get your gun and then walk out to your backyard or walk out to your friend's farm and shoot cans, right?
Nope.
It's understand how to hold it. Understand what your body's going to go through if you're facing a situation, what that adrenaline's going to be like. I remember the first time I ever shot a gun, I was amazed at the kickback a little gun gave me.
Well, do you remember what it was?
No, I actually don't. I know it was about that big. It was a little nose on it, 6-shooter. I don't know guns, so.
Well, no, I wasn't sure. Like if you shot a shotgun, I'd go, yeah, they got some kickback.
No,
but it was a handgun.
No, it was a handgun, and I remember it. Ever see those videos where they're showing a girl shooting a gun for the first time and almost bops her in the face?
Mm-hmm.
Kickback. That's almost what happened to me. Now, when I was shooting the gun, my dad took me to a range when I was like 12, 13.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that was my experience with the kickback. But again, what I'm saying is that's why I think like my wife's idea of like having it like there's a school and they take you through it. Like, do you think you remember what Keanu Reeves goes through? He goes through that tactical.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
Do you think that would be a bad idea for if you want to own a gun, you got to go through this course and you have to pass this course?
I don't think it's a bad idea. It would definitely limit a lot of people. that would be going for it. So that's going to be the other side of that, because those places are not cheap, and you're paying by the round. I mean, Keanu Reeves has put thousands of rounds through
Well,
guns.
yeah. But I guess I'm not specifically talking about a situation like that. What I'm saying
Right.
is, if we're talking about like, because driver's license, that's state run, right? Driver's license are state run. So if there was some sort of a state run
Mm-hmm.
gun, I don't want to say gun control, but a gun school or a shooter
Well,
school to where you go through all the things that we were talking about, and you go
there
through. Go ahead.
there kind of is. I mean, each county usually has what they call hunter safety, and a big part of hunter safety is gun safety. Um,
Right, but that's just for hunters, right? That's not
well,
for.
no, I mean, yes, I mean the idea is for you to go hunting, but that gun safety is universal. Like
Yeah,
if you
gun
want it,
safety is universal, but if you go and buy a gun from Walmart,
mhm.
is anybody letting you? Is anybody? Do you have to go to a gun safety place, or can you just go home and think you know what you're doing?
I believe you can take it home, but if you want to get a hunting license, you have to have hunter safety. So
Okay, I
there's a bit of a disconnect there. You're right.
right. So I guess what I'm saying is, if you want a gun, you got to take this course.
Yep.
Just like if you want to drive, you got to go through these parameters. Yep. Yeah, I think that's that way you're not taking a gun from anybody, but you're kind of filtering out like, okay, this guy seems a little off, or
And I would actually be in support of that. I mean, I really like that idea. You have to go through it's not just hunter safety, but yeah, like advanced gun safety for the specific type of gun that you're going to own. No, I could see that happening. And maybe that's the route we'll go. I don't know.
Yeah, interesting. I'm going to cut it short. I know we could go for a little bit longer, but we're at we're about 30 minutes on this one.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is a big
I knew
one.
it would be. I knew it would be. It's a challenging subject, and it's it needs to be discussed. I think the more people discuss it, the more ideas get out there. I think we're better off. So
and having real discussions with people on opposing sides and having civil discussions, because
yes, you're right.
Yelling at people because they own or yelling at people because they're anti, no one has ever changed their mind by being yelled at, or no one has ever changed their mind by an angry Facebook post.
Yeah, you're right.
Need to have real conversations with real people in real situations.
Yeah, I agree. I'll put it out there right now. If anybody wants to have a civil discussion on this channel about this topic, let us know in the comments below, because we'd love to talk about it. All views. I don't care what view you got. I'd like to hear it. Greg, same to you. Same goes for you.
Yeah, I'm totally.
Okay, yeah, cool. All right, so we'll try to end it on a cheerier note with our fact of the day. For those of you that have hung on this long to hear the fact of the day, thank you.
Thank you.
The fact of the day is, I know this is pronounced differently, but I want to read it. Yip Man, who taught Bruce Lee, opened his own martial arts school so that he could afford opium.
What?
He's a drug dealer. Your little
No.
Ip Man is a drug dealer.
No,
Or he's not a drug dealer. He was a drug.
Is a user?
Yeah, drug user.
No, Mr. Ip. I find that hard to believe.
Why do you find that hard to believe? Maybe he knew how to. Maybe he knew how to. Maybe he knew how to buy opium.
No, the legend of Ip Man. Donnie Yen has not depicted him as an opium user.
Oh yeah, because Donnie Yen was he was worried about how appropriate he was doing that. Yeah, I'm reading it right now.
Huh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah, Wikipedia. Because Wikipedia is always correct. Always.
It was cool, man. You wouldn't have the martial arts in media today without Master Ip.
I agree. But actually, I don't know if that's true or not. I'm just saying that. But But you know more about this, and we'll talk about it on another day. But that's an interesting fact. I don't think it. I mean, we don't know why he wanted opium. We can guess, but we don't know for sure. Maybe he was
Okay.
maybe he was like the first Bill Cosby, and he was giving it to girls.
Oh, stop it.
You don't know, bro.
That's terrible.
Of course, it's terrible. What Bill Cosby did was terrible. Did you ever think you'd hear that from Bill?
No.
No, exactly. You never know. So, all right, buddy. Topic Thunder out, sir. You have yourself a terrific rest of your Monday and or whatever day you're listening to this. Greg, take care. See you later, buddy.